We've got the CX-90 plug-in hybrid.
North of the border, it's Mazda. South of the border, it's Mazda. Let's get at it. EV mode, wait.
Ooh, quiet.
Oh, the gas engine didn't come on.
It didn't.
Take it easy, Andrew. You're gonna gobble up all our range.
That's the thing about the CX-90 PHEV is that you can keep it in EV mode at higher speeds.
Yeah, gobbles up that range. All right, let's get into what's under the hood of this new PHEV.
A 2.5-liter four-cylinder and a 68-kilowatt electric motor. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission and a combined 323 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque on premium fuel. You can use regular fuel, but the horsepower drops to 319. The torque stays the same.
How big's the battery? 17.8 kilowatt hours with 42 kilometers, just 26 miles of range. It has a rear bias all-wheel drive system. With a full tank of fuel and a full charge, you can get about 789 kilometers or 490 miles of range. So we have another video we recently did. I'll put the card here for the full gas model. This is the PHEV. What do you get with it? What are the key standard features?
The CX-90 PHEV comes with a heat pump, a 12.3-inch LCD display, a 10.25-inch center display with Mazda Connect, wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, an 8-speaker Mazda audio system, heated front seats, manual front seats, black cloth upholstery, keyless entry, 19-inch wheels, and a temporary spare tire. In the US, the base model comes with power front seats, a moonroof, power liftgate, and leather trim seats.
Andrea has it in EV mode now, but you can put it in other modes. What else can we put it in?
Gotta put it in S for subscribing. If you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop so you can watch those.
And we do this twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure you like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram to see what's up with Andrea at Motormouth_Andrea. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.
So I referenced the inline 6-cylinder turbocharged gas model. I encourage you to click on that link once you finish watching this, because it wasn't all perfect for us.
No.
Is this one the same or is it different?
Well, I think it's better transmission-wise, for sure. We've got a question coming up in Questions, Coffee, and Cars about that, so stay tuned. Overall, I think this has a pretty punchy powertrain when everything is working well together. You've got a full charge, you've got the electric motor. I think the handling is quite agile. You definitely feel planted. You take those corners really well. However, there's a however? Yes. However, you are going to feel those imperfections in the road. This is a very firm suspension, and the steering is also heavy. Now, I am someone who likes heavier steering, but this is the first time in a Mazda model that I tired of that steering, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that you're moving around a large vehicle.
So Andrea, let me get this right. You're coming around to my way of thinking on this product. I said in the last video that the heavy steering is not going to be welcomed by everybody. A small portion of the pie is for that. After a while you go, geez, why is this so much work?
Well, listen, I'm not coming around to your side at all because I still need something that has an engaging drive, and this provides it, but it is certainly not perfect.
No, it's not perfect.
I like, you may not like, just as he doesn't like.
No, it's not. I like an agile, fun to drive car. Don't get me wrong. When it's a 3-row family hauler, I want easy peasy. That's what I want. It all depends on the category. All right. So the transmission has an electric motor sandwiched in with the 8-speed automatic, which is kind of nice that it's not a CVT, so I applaud that. Over on the gas side, we found it was really jerky, didn't engage perfectly, it wasn't working to our expectations. The electric motor, I think, takes out some of that quirkiness and makes it actually way easier to live with when it's fully charged and that battery range is limited.
We're going to talk more about the range or lack of range coming up in our hot topic. Make sure you stick around for that. It's pretty good. Okay, we've got it in sport mode now, and it kind of has a bit of a growl to it. Sounds pretty good for a plug-in hybrid. I like it.
Easy. You're eating all that range.
Well, that's the problem. You don't want to be in sport mode.
All right, on the outside, you'd be hard-pressed to know that this is the PHEV, except for down the side, they've replaced inline 6 with PHEV. That's really the only tell.
Yeah.
And because I'm colorblind, I thought this was the same artisan red as the other one, but Andrea's here to tell me that I got that wrong too. I'm used to it, guys. I'm used to it.
It's not the same color. He goes, boy, it looks like the exact same color. It looks exactly the same. I said, no, it's not the same color. But we can all agree that Mazda knows how to do red. This comes with 8.1 inches of ground clearance. It's got body colored door handles, that black cladding on the wheel arches. Unfortunately, you cannot get body colored on this plug-in hybrid. It's got aluminum roof rails, standard 19-inch wheels, which is what we're riding on, available 21-inch. Now this middle trim comes standard in Canada with 19-inch wheels, but in the US, the premium model actually gets 21-inch wheels.
What we said in that gas model review is they always send us the top trim.
Yeah.
It's nice to get sort of a mid-grade interior, and when you look at that one compared to this one, oh, there is a difference. There's a lot more plastic on the inside, but I would say the major selling feature for this, Andrea, not 1 square centimeter of shiny hard plastic. It's all matte black, not shiny black.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me a bit of the Atlas interior. From afar, it looks really good because they have used a lot of different textures in here. It's not until you start touching things that you notice all of the hard plastic. So I think from afar it actually looks pretty good, and there's even some fabric on the door too.
So a major complaint is on the gas model, you need to get the top trim in order to get the big screen to get wireless Apple and Android. On the PHEV, that screen's not even available. You have to plug your phone in. I know this is real hardship, but this car that we're in here is around 60,000 Canadian.
Yeah.
At that price, wireless Android and Apple should be thrown in.
Now that's in Canada. In the US, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto does come on the middle trim, and I applaud them for that. I think
Why?
other manufacturers like Toyota are offering wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on the base model. This is not anything special.
So ergonomics are great on this product. They have a full row of real keys for the HVAC system and all the switches you use regularly. They've got the center controller here for the screen. You don't have to touch the screen, which keeps fingerprints off. I think it's logically laid out, but a little bit plasticky for the price.
Now this is a 3-row SUV. What sort of passenger configurations are available? In Canada and the US, the 2 top trims have captain's chairs, so there's 7 passenger vehicles. The base trim in Canada offers a bench seat, but in the US you get the option of a bench seat or captain's chairs, which is nice to have that flexibility. I still think bench seats, captain's chairs should be offered on all trims, just like the Honda Pilot.
Give us choice. Come on, give us choice.
In Canada, one up from the base model, which is our test model, as we said, adds a panoramic sunroof, leatherette upholstery, power driver and passenger seats, heated steering wheel, a wireless charger, and a hands-free power tailgate. The top trim adds features like the 360 view monitor, Napa leather interior, ventilated front seats, driver seat memory, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 12-speaker Bose sound system, and heated rear seats.
In the United States, if you go one up from the base model, you get similar features to the GSL we're driving. Also adds, good for you, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto plus the Bose stereo system. The top trims in both countries are very close, except in the United States, the top trim adds a heated steering wheel, and you also get that larger 12.3-inch display that isn't even offered in Canada on the PHEV. So we're going to talk more about the third row space in detail in Questions, Coffee, and Cars. So first of all, here's me getting in the second row. I would say it's really quite comfortable, fairly good leg room and headroom. In between the seats, there's a little flip-out cup holder, which gets you access into the third row.
Now, there isn't a lot of competition in the 3-row plug-in hybrid category, so we're going to compare one non-luxury and one luxury for space, the Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid, as well as the Volvo XC90 Recharge. Front row legroom at 41.7 inches is about the same as the Sorento, but almost an inch more than the Volvo. Second row legroom in the CX-90 at 39.4 inches is less than the Sorento, but more than the Volvo.
So here's me sliding the second row forward and getting in the third row. We're going to touch on this more in just a second in questions, coffee, and cars. I would say this is just for kids.
Third row legroom at 30.4 inches will give you just under an inch more than the Sorento. The Volvo has an extra 1.5 inches.
Then you lift the tailgate and the same thing. This isn't the biggest in this class. You can see the cargo space behind the third row isn't that big.
The CX-90 will give you 14.9 cubic feet behind that third row, which is 2.3 more cubic feet than the Sorento, but 7.7 cubic feet less than the Volvo. Overall cargo space for the CX-90 is 74.2 cubic feet, which is a little less than the Sorento, but more than the Volvo.
All right, your questions. Let's get into it.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Okay, realistically, can you fit in the third row for a 4 to 6 hour road trip? Could
Hell
you
no.
fit?
Hell no. Didn't you try it with our son?
Yeah, so I couldn't for sure. There's just no way. And so our
Enlisted our oldest.
Yes, our son came out with me yesterday and I said, Jack, how about getting in that third row? And he's like, do I have to? Yeah, you do. So he went back there.
So he's just under 6 feet.
Yeah, he wasn't impressed. He said, who can sit back here? I said, well, children can sit back there. So this is what he found. First off, the tracks for the seats, only 1 foot could fit in between because he has size 12 feet. They are giant.
So what you're saying is underneath the seat in front isn't very big.
Yeah,
Right.
no, just the tracks. Like you've got the tracks for the seat and in between you have to squeeze your feet in. Or you could put them on the tracks. I did say to him, you could put your feet on the tracks. So you know what he did? He just put his big legs straight up the aisle. And he goes, this works. 1 leg up the aisle. He said, if another
See,
person...
if you were on an airplane, you know what would happen if you did that on an airplane? They'd come by with the drinks cart and take your kneecap off.
Oh.
Ask me how I know.
Get that leg
Whack.
in. Get it in. So Jack said he could sit back there for a longer period of time. 4 hours is pushing it if he had the whole row to himself.
Yeah.
How does this compare to the Grand Highlander? Is that a fair comparison?
This is a lot smaller. You want room, you want full-size adult children to sit in the third row. That's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's where things change with the CX-90 and the Grand Highlander. Front and second row legroom is equivalent. Third row, the Grand Highlander has an extra 3 inches. Cargo space behind the third row is bigger as well, as is overall cargo space in the Grand Highlander.
Now, we've already touched on earlier in the video about how PHEVs don't return great fuel economy when the battery is depleted.
Yeah.
They do have a conventional hybrid available in the Grande Highlander, and it returns amazing fuel economy.
Very
so if
good.
you're trying to average down your fuel economy, that is going to be hard to beat.
For sure. Now that you drove for a longer time, the 2 versions, which one would you prefer without taking the gas into consideration?
So the fuel economy you're removing. The transmission in this worked better as a plug-in hybrid than the gas model we just had. Now, we should say when we first drove the gas model in San Francisco at the launch, we didn't notice any herky-jerky weird stuff with the
No.
transmission. It could have been just the one we had. I don't
Could have
know.
been.
But this one's working better.
And I found when we were in San Francisco that with the plug-in hybrid, there was a delay. This one doesn't have it. So I'm not sure what's going on there. This one actually works quite well when you've got it fully charged. You're not going to feel a lack of power. I would go for this one as well if I'm choosing between the 2.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Is the fuel efficiency on the PHEV far better than the mild hybrid when you consider how little the EV range is? My worry is that if the batteries are drained, the weight will impact the fuel efficiency in the long run.
So a couple of things if you want a plug-in hybrid, it's all about the dedication to plug it in whenever you get an opportunity. If you can do that, you can average down your fuel costs dramatically. However, if you don't stay within the electric range, boy, it really suffers. And there's another compounding factor to this, Andrea, is this doesn't qualify for the tax credit in Canada.
No.
Not the full tax credit.
Yeah, it only qualifies for $2,500 of the federal EV rebate because the range is below 50 kilometers. So if you look at something like the Sorento plug-in hybrid, it has better fuel economy when everything is working and the battery is charged. It's getting 3 liters equivalent per 100 kilometers, which is 78 miles per gallon.
A lot more than this.
Yeah, and then when it's depleted, it's up at 6.9 liters per 100 kilometers, which is 34 miles per gallon. This is up at 9.4 liters per 100 kilometers. So there's a big difference. Is it worth it to you to pay an extra $10,000 for this middle trim in Canada versus getting the top trim Sorento plug-in hybrid?
You know why you spend the 10 grand, Andrea?
Why?
To get that heavier steering.
Firmer suspension.
Yeah, and the firmer suspension, because anyway.
I just want to say,
those are just the facts about this. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not spinning it one way or the other. It's just a fact. If you're not really have an eye to having this plugged in all the time,
got it.
You have to run the numbers and see if it's even worth for you to get this thing.
The Sorento isn't perfect either. It's a 6-passenger plug-in hybrid. The larger screen doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the seats are firm. You've really got to analyze each of these models and which one works for your lifestyle. I would not buy this particular one if I didn't have a level 2 charger at home and I didn't stay within the range most of the time.
Can this PHEV tow that much? We're going to find out in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. The base model starts at just under $55,000 Canadian, and in the US, the base model is just under $47,500. This PHEV has a 7.2 kilowatt onboard charger with a 240 volt outlet. It will take about 90 minutes to charge your CX-90 from 20% to 80%, and with a 120 volt outlet, 6.4 hours. This plug-in hybrid is not compatible with a DC fast charger.
The CX-90 PHEV is rated at 4.2 liters equivalent per 100 kilometers. That's 56 miles per gallon equivalent when charged. The towing capacity is only 3,500 pounds, and Mazda offers a warranty of 3 years with unlimited kilometers in Canada, or 3 years and 36,000 miles in the United States. So, for your consideration, we have to pick 3-row PHEVs. Not all of them are non-luxury, so put your seatbelt on for the price.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid with a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 51 kilometers, 32 miles of range. It has a combined 261 horsepower and a starting price just under $47,000.
The Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder PHEV system, 61 kilometers or 38 miles of range. It has a combined 248 horsepower and a starting price of $46,500.
The Lincoln Aviator plug-in hybrid with a twin turbocharged V6, 494 horsepower and 34 kilometers, 21 miles of range. It has a starting price just under $85,500.
The grandpa of the group is the Volvo XC90 T8 Recharge with 53 kilometers, 36 miles of range, 455 horsepower, and a starting price, put your seatbelt on, of $82,500.
So there are 4 3-row plug-in hybrids for you to consider.
Lightning round. 2 things we like, 2 things we like to see improved.
I really like the planted feel that you get for a 3-row SUV.
I love that heavy steering.
What I'd like to see is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto offered on the base model.
I'd like to see more range, please.
While I'm a big fan of Mazda models, this one doesn't quite live up to my expectations.
Is this PHEV for you? Let us know.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.